and we are on chapter 5 of Sketches. I stopped on the opposite side of the street, directly across from the drop-in center. In big, bright, colorful letters, it said Sketches. There were some kids standing out front, leaning against the glass, talking, and some were having a smoke. They were the sort of people who I would have crossed the street to avoid if I'd seen them coming towards me a month ago. Now I was still cautious, but I learned not to be afraid. Or, at least not look like I was afraid. Showing fear was the worst thing you could do. You had to look cool, in control, like you belonged there. Brent and Ashley knew how to do it. They had the look, and the walk, the saunter. I tried to look around the passing cars and trucks and buses to see through the windows of the storefront. The sun glaring off the glass made that impossible. All I saw was a reflection of the activity on the street. Either I had to get closer, or just stop wasting my time and leave. But leave for where? To join Ash and Brent killing time on Yonge Street? I waited for a break in the traffic and then crossed, dodging the cars. I skipped up onto the sidewalk and stopped. I didn't know if I should go in. I didn't know who was there or what they'd say. I felt my gut get all tight. Part of me wanted to just take off, leave, go, but a bigger part wanted to go through the door and find out what was inside. I reached into my pocket and pulled out the crumpled card. I unfolded it and tried to smooth it out. I guess it was sort of like my invitation to go in. And I realized that that was what I really wanted to do. Most of what we did every day we did to survive, to get enough money to eat and a place out of the wet or wind or cold nights. There was hardly anything I did that made a difference or made me feel like I was somebody. Painting that concrete wall with those spray cans was the closest I'd felt to that. Maybe here I could do more. The kid standing in front of the place ignored me as I walked by. I stopped at the door. There was a sign. Sketches is a working studio for street-involved, homeless, at-risk youth. This is a drug-free, violence-free, feel-free-to-play space. That sounded good to me. I opened the door and was startled by the loud ping of a bell. The music I could hear from the outside was a lot louder inside. It was a band I knew, but I didn't really like. Carefully, I looked around. There were maybe 10 or 12 people. Everybody looked older than me, but nobody much older. It was also pretty obvious that everybody looked straight. Piercings, tattoos, clothes. I suddenly felt like a kid from the suburbs again, not sure of myself, not sure I should be there. I wish I looked tougher, but who was I kidding? I didn't look or feel tough at all. 4 kids were sitting on some broken down old couches. They were munching on some apples and talking and laughing. 3 others were standing in front of canvases painting. "Hello, how are you?" I spun around. It was a woman. She had a big smile on her face, and her hair was all spiked and shooting up into the air in a dozen directions. She was wearing a large white t-shirt that was covered in splotches of different colors of paint. "I'm fine, I guess," I answered. "Welcome to Sketches." "Thanks. My name is Nikki. I'm the director of this program." She reached out her hand, and I awkwardly shook it. "And you are?" she asked. "I'm Carolyn," I lied. Carolyn was my mother's name, and it was the first one that popped into my head. "Is this your first time here?" she asked. "Yeah, my first time." At least that wasn't a lie. "It's great to have you here." That was something I hadn't been hearing too often from people these days. Mostly, they were just happy for me to be somewhere else. People in stores, people in their cars, cops, people walking on the street. They all wanted me to go away. That is, those people didn't just pretend I wasn't there. "So how did you hear about our program?" Nikki asked. I held the card out and she took it. "He saw me doing some painting under a bridge." "Under a bridge? Were you using a lot of purples and oranges?" Yeah, I was," I admitted, wondering how she knew that. She furrowed her brow. "Robert told me about you, but I thought he said your name was something different." I swallowed hard. "I might have told him I was Dana," I admitted. "Sometimes people call me Dana." "That's a nice name," she said. "Would you rather we called you Carolyn or Dana?" "It doesn't matter. Whatever you want." "No, it does matter. It's about what you want." "I guess Dana would be okay." "Then Dana is what it'll be. I really like your work, Dana." "You saw it?" "Very vivid, bold, exciting. I'm only sorry I didn't get to see the original." "What do you mean?" "I only saw photographs Robert took." That's right, he said he was going to do that. And it's a good thing he did, because the original has already been destroyed, Nikki said. It has? The city doesn't care if it's beautiful work of art or a scrawl and some swear words. They just cover it up with gray paint. Damn. If I'd known it wasn't going to be there forever, but somehow I'd hoped it would last longer. When did they do it? I asked. A few days ago. I'm sorry. That seemed so typical. The good things never lasted. Just bad timing. The city maintenance crews were working in that area, she said. So, would you like a tour? Sure, I guess, I said, although there really didn't seem to be that much to see. This, she said, spreading her arms and motioning around us, is our main studio. This is the place where our clients have a chance to work in visual arts. This studio is dedicated to painting in a variety of media, including watercolors, oil, acrylics. I like acrylics, I said. It sounds like you've had some experience. My mother, she enrolled me in all kinds of art lessons. It sounds like she appreciated your artistic side, Nikki said. Yeah, she did. It felt strange to talk about my mother. It felt strange to even think about her. I wonder what she was doing right now, what my sister was doing. Were they thinking of me? Were they worried about me? Come on, I'll show you the other studios, Nikki said. There are others? Just follow me. As we walked past one of the painters, she reached out and put an arm around the girl's shoulders. This is really beautiful, Nikki said. It's nothing, really, the girl replied. It's something to be proud of. It's really not that good, I think you're forgetting something really important, Nikki said, taking the girl's hand. The girl nodded her head and a slight smile came to her lips. Thank you, she said. It is pretty good. Almost as good as the person who made it. Nikki gave the girl a big hug and she broke into a huge grin. We walked away and Nikki turned back toward me. Hardest thing around here isn't to help people to create beautiful art, but to convince them that they have created it. Can you imagine somebody not liking that painting? She asked. It was good, I agreed. We walked through a door and into another room. The music on one side of the door was replaced by music on the other, this time more metallic and blaring. The room was filled with workbenches, and tools lined the wall. There was one guy in the room. This is our industrial art studio. He's creating and customizing gas-powered scooters, she yelled over the music. The guy looked over at us, waved, and gave a goofy smile. He had thick glasses, hair that shot up in 1,000 different directions, and he looked as though he ought to be in the audiovisual club at school. Compared to him, I looked downright street. He turned back to his work. We moved through another door. I was both impressed and amazed to discover how much of the music was blocked out when she closed the door behind us. We were now standing in a room that held desks and computers. There was nobody else there. Although you can't tell right now, this is one of our most popular studios. In here, people are being instructed in how to design and create websites. We have people doing some amazing stuff. There's a chance, and it's still in the initial stages, that some of our participants are going to create their own online zine. Isn't that exciting? Yeah, I guess it is. By the way, are you hungry? Nikki asked. I'm okay, I said. You are? She made it sound as though she didn't believe me. What have you had to eat today? Well, I had a coffee and a donut, I said. Then you must be hungry, and even if you're not, I am. Come and join me for a bite to eat. We went through another door and were in a room with tables and chairs and a fridge and a stove and a toaster on the counter. The counter and sink were piled high with dirty dishes. Nikki picked up a knife off the counter and wiped the blade on a cloth. She took a bagel from the basket and carefully sliced it in two. Do you want one too? She asked. They did look good. That would be okay. Sure, thanks. Do you want it toasted? Yes, please. She took a second bagel, cut it in two, and then popped all 4 halves into the toaster. We have juice too, apple and orange. Could I have an orange juice? I'd been craving fresh juice or some fruit or something that didn't come from a fast food place. Help yourself. She pointed at the fridge in the corner of the room. When I opened it up, it was almost empty, but the bottom shelf was filled with little plastic juice containers. I grabbed an orange juice. It really isn't our mandate to feed people, but we have some contacts, nice people in the community who donate food. I sat down on one of the chairs around the table, and she took the seat right across from me. So, tell me what you know about sketches, she said. I don't really know much, I said, shaking my head. Just what you showed me today. In some ways, what you see is what you get around here. We've been operating an art drop-in center for the past 4 years. Our goal is to allow street-involved and homeless youth a place to go to express themselves through art. You mean people just drop in and do art? I asked. 5 days a week, our doors are open to allow people to do just that, Nikki said. And I can do that if I want? If that's what you want to do. As well as the daily drop-ins, though, we have special programs, classes, where peers and community artists come in and give instruction on specific techniques to help you become a better artist. It sounds sort of like school, I said. Not like any school I ever went to, but we will help you to learn new things. Anyway, you're free to just come and use our studios and materials to create and explore your artistic vision, if that's what you want, she said. And what do you want from me? I asked. Nothing. Although we do have expectations of our participants. What sort of expectations? I asked suspiciously. Nothing too unusual. We ask that people who attend our program respect the place and the people who use it. We know that a lot of bad things happen on the street, she continued. We just want them to stay out there and not be brought in through our front door. While you're in here, we insist that people treat you with respect and caring, and we expect that you act the same way. The street may be just outside our door, but it stays out there. There are absolutely no weapons or violence or drugs bought or sold or used while you're here. Can you live up to that? Sure. That wouldn't be too hard. Good. We like to think of this as a sanctuary. People can't be safe to pursue their art if they're not feeling safe to begin with. That did sound good. Maybe too good to be true. Would you like to start today? Nikki asked. I shook my head. I'd like to, but I have to get going. I'm meeting some people, some friends. Maybe I'll come back tomorrow or the next day. That morning I hadn't even been sure I was going to walk in the door. Figured I'd had enough for one day. Besides, I really was supposed to meet up with Brent and Ashley at another subway station to hustle more change. Any day is fine, but if you can't come for a while, we understand. Sometimes it takes a lot of time and effort to get the things you need to survive on the street. Do you have a place to stay tonight? I have a place, I said. I knew Ashley and Brent would take care of that. Because if you do need a place, I can arrange something. I've got a place, I repeated. A shelter or a squat? She asked. I didn't answer. I didn't know where we were staying, but even if I had known, I didn't think I'd tell her. It wasn't any of her business, really. That's okay, Nikki said. You don't have to answer any questions if you don't want to. We're not cops or caseworkers. We're just here to help you explore your art and help you if you want our help. Does that sound fair? I nodded. Good. Nikki got up and walked over to the counter. The bagels had popped up. She took them from the toaster, put 4 halves on a paper plate, and began buttering them. I'm actually not that hungry, she said. It's a shame to let good food go to waste. How about if you eat them both? She offered me the plate. I hesitated. Come on, don't be stubborn. If you're not that hungry yourself, take them with you. And a few more juices. For you or your friends. And there are some muffins. They're a day old, but they're still good. Take some of those as well. My instant reaction was to say no, to not take them, but I was hungry. And even if I wasn't, maybe Ashley or Brent would want them. Thanks, I said. I took the plate. I've got to get back out to the studio, Nikki said. I'll see you tomorrow, or whenever you want to come back. Take care, and it was nice to meet you. Part of me wanted to follow her out to the studio. Instead, I took a big bite of the bagel. It tasted good. Maybe the bagel wouldn't be the only thing that was good here. Maybe. Maybe not.